What if your home is silently holding you back? Not your job, not your past mistakes, not even other people, but the things you see every single day without questioning them. The objects, the memories, the quiet reminders of who you used to be. And here's the truth. Some of them are not harmless. They are anchors. They keep you stuck in a version of yourself that no longer exists. Stoicism teaches something most people never fully understand. You don't suffer because of the past. You suffer because you keep reliving it. And sometimes your own home becomes the place where that cycle never ends. Today, you're going to uncover 7 reminders of the past that you should never keep in your home. Because most people don't realize this. Letting go is not just emotional, it's physical. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because what you keep around you quietly shapes who you become. Let's begin. The first reminder you must remove is old trophies of a past identity. At first, they feel like pride, certificates, awards, old achievements, proof that you were once successful, admired, recognized. But here's the hidden cost. They trap you in comparison with your former self. You walk past them and think, I used to be better. Or worse, that was my peak. A man once kept his university medal on his desk for 10 years. Every morning he looked at it, not with pride, but with a quiet sense of loss. Because deep down, he believed he hadn't matched that moment since. And without realizing it, he stopped trying. Stoicism teaches you to live in the present moment, not in past victories, not in past glory. Because the moment you cling to who you were, you stop becoming who you could be. Your past success should inspire you, not imprison you. The second reminder is gifts from people who are no longer in your life. This one is subtle. It could be a watch from an old friend, a book from someone you loved, a small object that carries a big memory. And every time you see it, something inside you reacts, a mix of nostalgia and pain. You tell yourself it's just an object, but your mind disagrees. It replays conversations, moments, what could have been. A woman once kept the simple mug from someone she had loved deeply. Every morning she drank from it, and every morning she felt the absence. It wasn't the mug, it was the attachment. And this is where it gets dangerous, because you're not remembering the person, you're reliving the emotion. Stoicism reminds you that attachment is the root of suffering, not love itself, but the inability to release what is no longer yours. Keeping these objects is like reopening a wound every single day, and healing cannot happen in the presence of constant reminders. Let it go, not because it didn't matter, but because it mattered too much. The third reminder is items tied to past failures. Old business plans, rejected proposals, projects that never worked. You keep them just in case, but deep down they carry a different meaning. They remind you of who you were when things fell apart. A man kept a folder of his failed startup idea. He told himself it was for learning, but every time he opened it, he felt the same doubt, the same voice saying, "What if you fail again?" And slowly, he stopped taking risks. Most people don't realize this. Failure is not dangerous. Attachment to failure is. Stoicism teaches that events themselves are neutral. It's your interpretation that gives them power. If an object constantly reminds you of defeat, it is not a lesson, it's a limitation. You don't need to keep the evidence of failure to grow. You need to keep the wisdom and leave the rest behind.
The fourth reminder is photos that keep you emotionally stuck. Photos are powerful. They freeze moments in time, but sometimes they freeze emotions too. old relationships, lost friendships, a version of life that no longer exists. You scroll through them and think, things were better back then. But were they? Or are you seeing a filtered memory without the struggles that came with it? A man kept photos of a past relationship on his wall. He said it reminded him of love, but in reality, it kept him from moving on, because no new connection ever felt as perfect as that frozen moment. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because you're not comparing reality to reality, you're comparing reality to memory, and memory always wins. Stoicism teaches acceptance of the present, not idealization of the past. A photo should be a memory, not a prison. If it keeps you from embracing what is, it no longer serves you. The fifth reminder is clutter that represents unfinished versions of yourself. Old hobbies you abandoned, books you never finished, equipment you bought but never used. They sit there quietly, but their message is loud. You didn't follow through. Every time you see them, you feel a subtle sense of guilt, a quiet pressure, a reminder of inconsistency. A man once filled his room with things he intended to master, guitar, painting, fitness gear, but instead of motivating him, it overwhelmed him, because each item became a silent accusation. You failed to become this. Most people think clutter is just physical, but it's not. It's psychological. Stoicism teaches simplicity, clarity, focus on what truly matters. If something no longer aligns with who you are becoming, it is not potential, it's weight, and weight slows you down. Let your environment reflect your present self, not your abandoned intentions. The sixth reminder is painful souvenirs you keep out of habit, not because you love them, but because you've always had them. Objects from difficult times, places you'd rather forget, moments you've outgrown. You don't even notice them anymore, but your mind does. A small item from a toxic phase, a reminder of a struggle, a piece of a story that no longer needs to be told. A man kept a jacket from a period in his life when everything was falling apart. He rarely wore it, but every time he saw it, he felt a heaviness he couldn't explain, until one day he got rid of it, and something shifted, not outside, inside. Because here's the truth, your mind associates constantly, and your environment feeds those associations. Stoicism teaches awareness, to question what influences your inner state. If something brings you back to pain, even subtly, it has no place in your present. You are not obligated to carry reminders of your suffering. The seventh and final reminder is perhaps the most dangerous: your old identity. Not an object, but the version of yourself you keep trying to hold on to, the person you used to be, the beliefs you once had, the story you keep telling yourself. I'm not the kind of person who, I've always been like this. This is just who I am. These are not truths, they are attachments, and they live in your environment, in the way you arrange your space, in what you keep, in what you refuse to let go. A man once defined himself by his past struggles. He kept everything that reminded him of who he had been, because it felt familiar, safe, but also limiting. Because every time he tried to change, his environment pulled him back. Stoicism teaches something radical. You are not your past. You are not your previous actions. You are not your old identity. You are what you choose right now. But here's the challenge. You cannot become someone new while surrounded by constant reminders of who you used to be. Transformation requires space, and space requires letting go. So ask yourself, what in your home is quietly holding you back? What are you keeping that no longer serves you? What are you afraid to release because it feels like losing a part of yourself? But here's the truth. You are not losing yourself, you are freeing yourself. Your past should be a lesson, not a life sentence, and your home should be a place of growth, not a museum of who you used to be. Take a moment, look around you, not with your eyes, but with awareness. Every object tells a story. Make sure it's one that moves you forward, not one that keeps you stuck. Because the life you want is not in the past, it's waiting for you in the space you create by letting go. If this made you think differently, take a second to like this video, and if you're ready to let go of what no longer serves you, subscribe to the Essence Script. But more importantly, start today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because the longer you hold on, the longer you stay the same, and deep down, you already know it's time to let go.